Time to shine today, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I've got a good friend of mine, Julio, here, and he's coming to me from Mozambique, and it's over in South Africa area. So, and it's funny, last week I did 5 interviews, and nobody was in the United States, but I've never interviewed anybody from South Africa area in Mozambique, especially. Julio is a really good friend of mine. He's an award-winning professional with a positive attitude, organization, and dependability. Julio uses a 7 years experience within management, training, and research environments to enable personal, professional, and business growth. He is the founder of a kick-ass company, Sharing Knowledge International. It's a company guided by the same mission and offers business advisory, career counseling, transformational coaching, training, speaking engagements, and knowledge consultancy. So he's a one-stop shop for people out there that are really looking to level up their life and take it to the next level. And if you're stuck in a little blind spot or something, Julio's the guy to go to. So Julio, welcome to the show. Come on and introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
It's gray because really reminds me of the infinite possibilities that we have.
Dude, I've never had anyone say gray before. What is infinite in the possibilities in the color gray, brother?
I mean, gray is a mixture of white and black, but there's so many shades of gray. You have like a more bluish gray, a more reddish gray. So there is literally infinite possibilities when it comes down to that color and different shades as well.
Gray goes with almost everything. People don't realize that you can wear gray shorts with black, blue, red, everything. There's no clashing, right? I mean, even brown, you can pull it off, So that's a great color, man. That is awesome. Yeah. So Julio, give us a little bit of origins, man. Where'd you get started in life?
Yeah, sure. So guys, first of all, I'm super happy and grateful to be here with you guys. I started off in a small town in Mozambique and super regular dude. I grew up in the ghettos, really, but I was studying in a private school. So from a very young age, I was presented with this duality about having people with lots of money and resources on one hand, on the other hand, having people that could barely make ends meet. And they really started to kick off a question on what's the difference here, right? What are some people are doing very well and the others are not doing that much. And from that, really one thing led to another. My mother was a teacher. I grew up pretty much in a teaching environment. My first business was a technical vocational training program. From that, if you ever own a startup, you realize that if you don't have a mentor, a lot of the decisions you'll be making, you feel like you're just guessing.
Right.
And the feeling that I was having, I had no clue what I was doing. I sat down with my co-founder. We decided that I was going to go ahead and get a job, but I could develop as a leader. And he will keep running the company. I did that for 4 years now. For the last 2 years, I was managing a top-tier business incubation program here in Mozambique. I learned a lot. I grew up as a leader a lot. And last year, I decided to venture on my own again and founded Sharing Knowledge International.
Love it. Love it. Where'd you come up with the name Sharing Knowledge International? What made you pick that?
Funny fact, I was having a conversation with a consultant from the US, actually from New York, from Making Sense. And she was asking me what I was doing in my free time. And I said, well, a lot of the times I just do consultancy work. I do trainings, I do business advisory, some career counseling. And she said, oh, basically you're sharing knowledge, just like you're doing in here. And I was like, well, that's such an interesting name. I never thought about that. And then I always wanted to have an impact way beyond Mozambican borders. So adding international just made sense.
I love that. I love it. And you know what? You always remind me with every message that Julio sends, Squad. He always reminds me that we are powerful beyond measure. And look at his smile, man. He's a handsome dude. If you're watching on YouTube, the guy's always smiling. Everything he sends me is always upbeat, and he's not just a imposter. I mean, this is a kid that grew up in the hood, got his a mentorship in place, made sure he was getting what we call getting his asking gear. You're asking for the knowledge, and it presented itself because you took action, correct?
Yeah, definitely. The one thing that I've learned throughout my years of experience and literally witnessing a lot of people changing and transforming is that action is the only thing that will close up the gap between where you are and where you want to be. There is no shortcut. It's straight, massive aligned action.
Wow. So the action is the only thing that closes the gap from where you are to where you want to be, man. That's strong,
Yeah.
squad. Did you hear that? Write that down. Make sure you're taking notes. So, Julio, what do you think makes a great coach consultant or a coaching consultant? What do you think makes a great coach consultant?
Well, the first thing would be the ability to listen. I found that active listening is an exercise that all of us should really just practice. Even if you're not a coach or a consultant, if you are a leader, you realize that your work is like 20% you and 80% your people. So make sure that you listen to your clients, you listen to your team, so that you know what to say and when to say and how to say it to really drive that impact they're looking to have and achieve.
Right, because everybody has a different story, right? Everybody has a different
Yeah.
background. So you've got to really listen. And like we say here, time to shine today, we listen with our eyes, our ears, everything, all our senses, right? I have a feeling that
Yeah.
that's what you do too, as well, because you said active listening. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if I'm at a networking event, virtually or in person, and I'm talking to somebody, what are they saying to me, Julio, that would make them a good prospect, referral, or connection for Sharing Knowledge International?
Ooh, they're looking to make massive change and massive impact. They have this big bold vision. They might not be fully clear on it, but they just know they're not just here to pay their bills and die. They know they're meant to make a difference in their community. It doesn't matter if it's just their local community or an international one, but they just know that every single one of us has a bigger role to play, and they're willing to do that.
That's
It's okay
amazing.
to feel lost. Everyone does once in a while, but they have that eagerness to make a change and make an
Julio, how
impact.
old are you, man?
How old do you think I am? Let me put up my
I was like
grown-up face.
26.
Close enough. Close enough. I'm
Okay.
25.
Okay, 20. Wow. You're a young buck, man. You have all this knowledge, and it just shows the passion shines through in it. That's fantastic. So
Thanks, man.
when you bring somebody on for coaching, um, what is some of your secret sauce then, Julio, that to help them find their blind spot?
Ooh, I found that no one knows their blind spots better than the clients themselves. As an observer, you can pinpoint that, but it's very important for you to come from a place of understanding and a place of love so that the person really, opens up and lets you inside their deepest secrets. And just being able to create that safe space and being able to manipulate that space, because if you're trying to make transformation happen, there is a balance between making a safe space but also a very challenging and a comfortable space as well. So having that capacity to manipulate space has been one of my greatest superpowers, to be honest.
Wow. So when you say manipulate space, because a lot of people hear
Yeah.
manipulation and they look at it kind of as a taboo word, they don't like it, but dive
Yeah.
into that just a little bit more for us. So, because you're wanting them to kind of come up with their blind spot on their own by guiding them. You're not just
Yeah.
presenting it to them, right? You're
Yeah.
guiding them to it. So is it through questions, powerful questions that you're asking them to dig it up, or what's going on there, Julio?
Like when I think about spaces, I think about every single experience that we had to our five senses, right?
Right.
So it could be just by the way I represent myself, my body language, to the way I speak, to the way I look at them, if I'm making jokes or not, just really making sure that the person feels comfortable and just willing to share whatever is going on with their life, right?
Right.
And then by asking them powerful questions, you can help them realize insights that have been hidden so far, right? But then when it comes out to creating this more challenging environment, it's really about you kind of poking them where you know it's going to hurt the most.
Right.
I've been like a lot of
Gently
my clients.
sometimes, right?
Yeah. Sometimes gently, sometimes not. It
With a
really
foot in the
depends on the
butt.
client and what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I got some clients calling me like the daredevil, which I love, by the way. I
Right.
love being that guy that challenges people to really step up and play full out.
Got it.
So really just the way that you present yourself and how you conduce the interview, but always making sure that you got the client's permission, of course, to do that, really allows them to tap into places that they don't even thought to be possible to go.
Okay. You know what? Let me ask you something. You have to get an age objection every once in a while, don't you? When people come, they could
All
be
the
CEOs,
time.
or how do you get over that? How do you get not around it, but how do you head on handle that objection?
Yeah, so first things first, I've been the youngest one forever in my life. Like
Sure.
in my classrooms, in my job, I'm just used to be the youngest one. That's one. But what I really found it's important is for you to really show your value. You really have to show your track record, right? Especially in this day and age where attention is really your paycheck, you really want to make sure that you grab people's attention on the right way by showing them that you have the track record.
Hmm.
And that's why actually one of the reasons that in 2019 really led me to focus on getting all those international awards so that people can really see beyond the testimonials of my clients, beyond the transformation that I've been doing that on an international level, I am appreciated. People really recognize my value as a way for them to sort of like forget or don't focus that much that I'm so young and understand that knowledge comes in very different packages.
It does. It does. Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying that. So if you're bringing somebody on as a new
Mhm.
client, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Mhm. Oh yeah, I will tell them to ask me about who they have to become. That's the thing with transformation. A lot of people focus on the external things, on the strategies that they have to do. Some clients start to understand that success is 80% an internal game and only 20% the strategies and the mechanics. But when they go into the 80%, most of them are stuck in the mindset part of the equation, right? So they're limiting beliefs and creating new empowering beliefs to support them in their journey. Very few of them ask who they have to become in order to do all those strategies and to use that mindset on a natural way. And by the way, like 100% of my clients, they if they ever struggle with imposter syndrome after my sessions, they're done with that. Just because I make sure that they realize that if they want to make a change, they have to change themselves. So it's really
Right.
about being that better or higher version of themselves that will really allow them to follow through with their vision.
So it sounds like you might have been listening to my podcast or something because you're answering these things like so quickly, man, which is fantastic. Because I do ask some of the same questions, but usually that one kind of trips people up. And man, you fired right back at ask your coach, who they have to become for the massive transformation. Thank you for answering it like that. You're wise beyond your years, my friend. But
Thank you.
if you go back, you're young, but do you remember Back to the Future? Do you know the movie?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's get in our DeLorean. Let's go back with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 10 years. Let's go back a decade.
Ooh,
Let's go
okay.
back to the 15-year-old Julio.
Hmm.
What kind of knowledge nuggets, that's what we call him here, what kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on Julio to help him maybe shorten his learning curve, maybe level up even faster than you have now?
You know what? I've done several exercises like that, or they like go to my childhood and try to change something. And at this point, I think I'll just look at myself and let myself know that I matter. And honestly, I'm kind of scared to interfere a little bit more with my past because I have no clue how that will affect my future. I found that it's way easier for us, in the present moment to draw lessons from our past instead of wondering what if something
Sure.
did or did not happen in the first place.
Right.
So I
That's
guess
what,
I'll just, yeah,
that's a
say that
great
you are in the right first.
that's a great point, brother. Because I mean, even if you're driving in a car, your windshield is so big, but that rearview mirror is so small, and so many people
Yeah,
live in that and define
yeah,
themselves by it, right? And that's fan. So you're talking about being mindful, staying present, and remind yourself that you matter,
yeah.
throughout the duration. So that's great, man. So how do you want your dash remembered? How do you want that little line between your incarnation date and your death date, which hopefully for you is many years down the road? But how do you want to be remembered in that
As a
dash?
force to be reckoned with. I really want to be remembered as someone that if you step into my field, you cannot go back and be the same old you. You really have
Wow.
to level up.
Wow. Wow. You're not stealing my quote there, are you? The level up there. All right. No, that's awesome. So like when you come into and you meet squad, when you meet Julio, you're gonna leave, you'll be the same person physically, but you're gonna leave leveled up in being able to take on so much more than you ever did before, and with a confidence and ferociousness. And that's fantastic, Julio. That's great to hear that. So what's the BIG, the big thing Julio wants to accomplish in his life?
Ooh, to be honest, for the longest time, I was in the front line. So I would deliver a lot of trainings, a lot of business advisory. And when I was managing this incubation program, I realized that, fighting in the front lines will get you somewhere. But if you realize that there are people in positions of power that you can get to influence, and most important of all, you get to bring them the real perspective of the streets, the real perspective of people who are every day trying to craft a better life, you just realize that your impact can go 10x. So the future thing for Share Knowledge International is to be playing more into the field where we're not only in the front lines, but we also helping policymakers and strategists really just ensure that we have systems that reflect our future and not our past, as we've been seeing a lot of those systems
It's
operate
a
at
hell
the
of a
moment.
legacy that you're living. Not that you're leaving, you're living your legacy. That's fantastic, man. So let's take our cell phone, our computer, tablets, whatever electronics you have there, Julio. What's 3 things you can't live without?
Sunset or sunrise, the sun in general.
Okay.
That's one. 2, we will be my own personal space that I found that I can always create that. I feel there is no longer relationship that any of us will have other than with ourselves.
Okay.
So I often say that if I lose everything, if I still have myself, I can always remember all of the great people that I've met and how much they changed my life and how much I changed theirs. So that's sense of identity and sense of belonging, of safe space or security within myself.
Sure.
That's the second one. And third will be smiling. I cannot imagine a life without a smile.
Yeah, I know it. You know what? You're infectious, man. I'm a smiley guy as well, because I walk in, I'm 270 pounds. People, I'm a big dude, and people are like, oh boy. And I just light it up, man. And then he's just there. He's not a bully. He's not an asshole. And you walk in, I'm looking at you teaching here, and you're smiling. Your posture's perfect. That's great, man. You're going places, brother. That's fantastic. So let me ask you something, Julio. What's your definition of a life well lived?
It's a life that you made a change. I guess, one of the basic human needs is to know that they matter, right? To know that they were significant, that they leave their footprints in the sense of time. And I came to realize and to accept and to honor that there will mean a whole of bunch of different things to every single one of us. So perhaps to a listener is to be the best dad in the world. To someone else could be juggling their life, their career, and their self-care. For me, it's really making sure that people are leveling up and they're remembering how powerful they are. They have the guts to step and own their power and support others to do the same.
Wow.
So really, it's just you knowing that you did what you believed and you crafted to be your truth. If you're doing that, then you live the life worth living, definitely.
Man, you're fantastic, brother. Listen, we're gonna, as we wind things down here a bit, Julio, I have my leveling up lightning round.
Yep.
So I got 5 or 6 questions. You and I could talk forever on each one of them, but you got 5 seconds. No explanation, okay. 0. Just fire it off.
Okay.
All of them can be answered that way. You ready, my friend?
Bring it on.
All right. Here we go. Let's level up. What's the best leveling up advice Julio's ever received?
Operate from your vision.
Awesome. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I meditate every day, twice a day for at least 15 minutes.
Wow. Fantastic. So other than your own website and, of course, Time to Shine Today, that's my shameless plug, what is another website that Julio goes to level up?
Actually, it's Instagram. I created an Instagram that is a portfolio of my vision.
Love it. Love it. So not the book you're reading now, or maybe the book you're even writing, or not the book of the flavor of the month. What's a book that you go to level up? If I'm in my doldrums, I'm not feeling it, man. You're like, Fergie, read this. What is it?
Outliers by Maxwell Gladwell.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, excellent.
It's a powerful book.
What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
The smiley one,
Smiley one?
obviously.
No way. Really? Awesome. Is there any charity or organization you like to give your time and or money to?
Yeah, Global Citizen. They raise awareness on very deep stuff that's not being talked about.
Love it. Love it. Last question. You're young, so I have to add another decade here, but what's the best decade in music? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
I'm a 90s baby. 90s.
Really?
All
Okay.
day.
Nice. My man. My man. Hey, Julio, how can we find you, brother?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, of course, at Julio Muhorro. That's JuLioMuhorro. Or you can find me through my company's LinkedIn page, Sharing Knowledge International.
Love it. And everybody, squad, all of those links will be in the show notes below. So make sure you check them out. So, Julio, leave us with one last knowledge nugget that you want us to take with us, internalize, and put into action.
Dare not to be different, dare to be yourself. You'll find that that's the most bravest and selfless thing you can ever do for anyone, including yourself.
Love it. Love it. And squad, we just had this guy's a quarter century years old, man. I'm double his age almost. I'm 48 years old, and this guy has knowledge at 25 that I didn't even start gathering until my 40s. He's light years ahead. He's going to remind us that massive action is the only thing that closes the gap from where you are to where you want to be. He actively listens, not just with his ears, but his eyes. He's going to actively listen to everything that you're passing over to him. Massive change and massive impact is meant to make a difference. That's how he lives his life, is with massive. All I can think of is just this, not a little guy, but a man of littler stature. He thinks massively, he thinks big, which is just, and his smile lights up a room. If you start working with a coach, and hopefully it's Julio, ask your coach, how do they want you to become out of your transformation? Ask them how they are going to do, or what they see you as, after, that you hire them and bring them on. You remind yourself daily, actually every hour, that you matter. He's a force to be reckoned with. He's doing big things with Sharing Knowledge International. And he wants to remind you to know that you make a change and to own your power. And most importantly, how I really picked up from is operate from your vision. Set it up, operate from your vision. He's going to remind you possibly to journal and just really, operate and put your vision out there and follow your vision and get after it. He's humble, he's happy, he's smiley, he's healthy, he's wealthy. You're part of the Time to Shine Today squad now, Julio. You can't go anywhere. Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Excellent. Talk soon.